smell. No, the wind's going that way now. As the wind shifts around, it's smelling more or less.
Yes.
But remember, today is the second day. Only the male flowers are opening up today. The females were last night. 6 hours receptivity. That's when the big stink is. So last night it was a wall of smell composed of dead cow, some shit, a couple buckets of vomit, and some dried fish, and overcooked Brussels sprouts. So a very, very nasty combination of smells. And why? It's all about sex. The smell is to attract insects because these plants cannot pollinate cannot pollinate themselves. They cannot pollinate themselves. All right, I'll get into that in a minute. Where are these from? Borneo, Sumatra, Indonesia, lowland tropical rainforest between Australia and Southeast Asia. So prime habitat for orangutans, same habitat here. Lowland tropical rainforest in the equatorial parts of Asia. And what are those lands also good for? Palm oil plantations. And so just as the orangutan, every time you see a picture of the destroyed forest and this poor red-headed big-eyed orangutan, you think, oh. But what about this one? Equally rare. Only 1,000 of these left in the wild. And they're widely dispersed. Like the orangutans, they don't make groups. There's never a cluster of them. These exist, one here, 3 miles away, 10 miles away, and they need to cross-pollinate. This plant is a hermaphrodite. This plant is a bulb. The bulb is down there, underneath the ground. This is the inflorescence. It's a compound flower. It has hundreds of female flowers here, and hundreds more male flowers. Ooh, baby. They're warming up. Ooh, I can feel them. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Anyway, low density, but they need to trade pollen. The female flowers open one night for 6 hours. The stench is magnificent. The females are done at midnight. We operated at 10 p.m. last night and pollinated our female flowers with pollen that we got from the Huntington Garden because our pollen wasn't ready. So this is about avoiding inbreeding. We don't marry our siblings, not even our first cousins, although there are exceptions, like my aunt and uncle. But we don't go to family reunions to meet our next spouse. We need to outbreed. We want to keep up the genetic diversity. And in these far-flung plants, miles in between them, they need a powerful way to attract them. So when this flower is ready to bloom, after 10 years of a bulb that goes from that size to 35 pounds in the size of a cheese wheel, it has enough nutrition to make this first flower. This is the first flower of this plant. The plant is the bulb. It will last for 30 or 40 years. It may bloom 3 or 4 or 5 times over those years. It takes a couple years to get back. This is the first flower, so it's relatively small. This is barely 5 feet. But 8 weeks ago, it was just poking up above the ground. So that bulb, for 10 years, accumulated nutrition to pump this out in 8 weeks. Like many bulb flowers, right? What's coming up right now? The naked ladies, right? You've seen the naked ladies, these pink flowers that just pop up out of bare ground, hot, dry ground. Where are the leaves? Where are the leaves?
You can smell it, yeah.
Where are the leaves? They bloomed, the leaves came up in the rainy season. So this is a bimodal thing. The leaves send the energy to the bulbs are dormant for a while, and then at the peak of the hot, dry season, now, these naked ladies come popping up. And why do they do that? Because then their seeds will ripen just when the rains come. So it's a cycle, all very attuned. It's a very, very interesting cycle. This one has a cycle that is annual. Every year the bulb makes one leaf. Next year it makes a bigger leaf and the bulb gets bigger year after year. I want you to see this pack when I'm done talking and I release you. I want you to look at that picture over there. The guy in the blue shirt is holding on to one leaf. Looks like it's a whole tree. It's one leaf. So every year this plant will make either one leaf or a flower. Now it's big enough to make a flower. When everything is right, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, and it's late May, the light signals the change in day length is very insignificant, but it's enough to trigger this plant to grow this bulb. So here we are, 8-9 weeks later. It's grown up. It was ready. Last week on Friday, it started to open. So I put it out to the news. Hundreds of people came up here. Everything was great. It was heating up. It got up from 87 degrees to 91 degrees, and then it stopped. By 9 o'clock, I realized it wasn't warming up all the way to 98 degrees, and it just stopped. And I was the pessimist, and I thought, oh, damn it, it's dead. You know, I thought it would abort because these are tropical flowers. They want to live 75 degrees temperature at night and 95% humidity all the time. But we had it out here. We took it out of a tropical greenhouse north of the campus because we wanted to display it to you. So it's all your fault. We brought it down here, 11 nights of Santa Cruz nights. It was cold. And that last Friday night, it got colder and colder. And the plant said, to hell with this, I'm just giving up. And I thought that was the end of it because they're sensitive. San Antonio Zoo had one last month. They didn't have cold, they had it in a greenhouse. Almost all of them are in greenhouses, right? But San Antonio Zoo, the news people set up these intense lights for a week to do time-lapse photography. The plant said, what the hell, where's the nighttime? I bloom at night. There was no night. Said I quit, and it just collapsed. It just aborted and collapsed. So things will abort. Plants will abort if it's no use. Why waste any more energy on it? This one started to open. For 4 hours, the spade was opening a little bit, the stink was coming, the heat was rising, and then it stopped. So I assumed it was done. But we didn't autopsy it, we didn't cut it up, we didn't throw it out. We kept it for a few more days, and yesterday was the day. Why? Because it was humid.
Yeah.
You know, all the Easterners said, what are you talking about? And all the Californians are saying, oh, it's so hot. The Californians are just Twinkies. But we know humidity in the East. And that's what this plant wants, humidity and heat. So last night, after we closed, it was 6:30, 7 o'clock, 2 employees had stayed late. They noticed, oh my God, it was opening. The space started to get open. It's like, Holy Mary, Jesus, and Joseph. It's opening. So phone calls were made. We did put it out to the news people, so we got a lot of news coverage, but we didn't put it out to the public last night, except for Shmuel Taylor, who put it Facebook out, and a lot of people tried to sneak in at 11 o'clock. It was dangerous. Who was here Friday night? It was dangerous. Yeah, out there at Empire Great, the campus was really pissed at us, making this traffic jam. Anyway, so last night, it started opening. It was heating up to full temperature. The stink was magnificent. So what is this stink for? In the jungle, we do not want to pollinate ourselves, and we can't pollinate ourselves. We have hundreds of fully functional female flowers. We have even more hundreds of fully functional male flowers, but they don't mature at the same time. First night, the female flowers are available. They're receptive for 6 hours. They need pollen. So stink goes up, and in addition to the stink, remember we've got the heat. That carries it up to the rainforest. For miles and miles around, the scent spreads out like a skunk on a summer road. You can smell it from miles away. It's very, very rank. So the insects come, smell so stronger, and when it gets closer, they see that as heat, as light. That temperature to them is in the infrared spectrum. Insects see it, so they see light, and they get closer, and they see this platter which looks like dead meat. It's dried blood, it's perfect color, dead meat, and the smell draws them down. The female insects are loaded with eggs. They need to lay them in dead meat. Every time you find a corpse in the forest, it's full of maggots, right? So beetles and mostly flies come in. The females are bugs. Finally, we got here, the smell of the dead meat. They crawl all the way down inside. We cut this open last night. They're down there. Where's the meat? Damn it, there's no meat, it's just vegetables. So they're very angry and very tired. So they fall asleep. If we're lucky, they fall asleep down here. Then next morning or early afternoon, they wake up. Damn it, I'm still pregnant. And they have to crawl out. But meanwhile, the male flowers have opened. The pollen is ready. They crawl across the pollen, fly away, and they have to find another plant within 12 hours that has receptive females. So this is a system that keeps the plant from breeding itself across miles and miles and miles of lowland rainforests. And these rainforests are extremely endangered. Orangutan habitat, corpse flower habitat. There's orangutans is the poster child for equatorial forest destruction. Why is that happening? Palm oil. Palm oil, essential for manufacture of all sorts of stuff and all sorts of food products. This is Santa Cruz. I assume you all read it'll come.